is 5 on 20 News with Jamain.
And I'm Tammy King, and today is Monday, March 5th. First in local headlines.
We're going to talk about Arizona State candidate and former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He's questioning whether President Obama actually attended Harvard. After laughing, we're going to cut back to me right now. In a recent interview with the Washington Post, Arpaio asked, "Do you have his transcripts or his record?" hinting that he wanted to see proof of Obama's educational history. The subject came up when the Michael Schur, the reporter, brought up the birther issue. The reporter who brought up the birther issue, the theory spread by the president, the conspiracy theory spread by the president that Obama wasn't born in the U.S. These theories have floated around for years, with Arpaio being one of its best known adherents. Obama actually released his birth certificate while he was president, which showed that he was born in Hawaii, but birthers, always the open-minded bunch, claimed it was a forgery. Arpaio said earlier this year that he would continue to investigate the document if he's elected senator, which is, high on our list of national priorities. However, he might have a harder time proving that Obama didn't attend Harvard, as the former president interned with several firms and served as the first black president of the Harvard Law Review. A moment that garnered national news, but Arpaio claims that the Harvard Law Review doesn't exist, and neither does Harvard University, which Arpaio believes is a Hogwarts-like fantasy for liberals. Yeah, you enter through this hole in the Tucson. There's a bridge that the train goes under.
Yeah.
There's a little hole there. That's how you get to Harvard.
To the Hogwarts.
Yeah, to the Harvard. It's called the former president called it Harvard.
Oh,
we
right.
know it's Hogwarts, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of birthers, Arizona has plenty of them. Tucson political activist Christine Bauserman resigned from her Interior Department position under the Trump administration on Wednesday after a series of posts exposing conspiracy theories, anti-Muslim and anti-LGBTQ comments. Bauserman worked on the Trump campaign in Arizona and then took a spot in the administration following Trump's inauguration. CNN first found this post and raised questions about Bauserman. On Thursday, the administration released a statement saying the positions expressed by Ms. Bauserman are inappropriate and unacceptable, and they are not consistent with those of the Secretary of the Trump administration. A snicker then ran out among the crowd. Among the posts shared by Bauserman were birther conspiracies, statements about the reality of hate, that is Islam, and straight pride, praise for a Russian pro-heterosexual flag. Around Tucson, Bauserman is best known for funding robocalls attacking City Councilman Paul Cunningham in 2015, calling the councilman a sexual predator without citing any evidence.
Well, nowadays you don't need evidence to prove someone's a sexual predator.
Just call them out.
Yeah, say it. Especially if they're opponents of yours. That's when you really have to speak up.
Right. Blame somebody, yeah.
Blaming people.
Yep.
All right, African Americans are more likely to go hungry in Arizona than other races, according to a report from the nonprofit Bread for the World. 1 in 4 African American households in Arizona are living at risk of hunger, according to the report, compared to 1 in 7 households for the rest of the state. A spokesman for Bread of the World said that incarceration, high unemployment rates, poor education, and higher amounts of low-wage jobs have contributed to the increase in hunger among African Americans. They said that increasing access to good jobs, education, quality food, and public transportation could make inroads in decreasing hunger in the state. Healthcare can also impact issues of hunger because poor health can lead to chronic diseases like diabetes and obesity, which African Americans face at higher rates than the rest of the state. All right, we're gonna move on to the next story.
All right. A Maryland man is attempting to hike an 800-mile-long Arizona trail to raise money for the Alzheimer's Association. Blake Garner set out yesterday morning on the trail, which passes through the Grand Canyon and extends to the Utah state line. Garner says he plans to stop every 10 days to recharge at whatever small town he encounters. A friend will keep him company on the first couple of days, but Garner will finish the rest of the trek on his own. If you want to donate to Garner's cause, visit the Alzheimer's Association page at the address shown below. And if Blake happens to stop in on your town, give him a warm welcome and let him know that we're not all birthers.
Let him know I'm a birther.
Oh, you're a birther? I'm
yeah,
a birther.
I know he wasn't born here.
Yeah.
All right. So another instance of Arizona not looking great in state-by-state comparisons. According to a report issued by the Governor's Highway Safety Association, Arizona has the highest rate of pedestrian traffic deaths in the country, with nearly double the national average. That's why I drive everywhere. Tucson, unfortunately, has its own problems with pedestrian death, with 7 deaths in 2018 already, an increase from 5 at this time last year. Put this sad statistic in the category of terrible things about Arizona that aren't basically all Phoenix's fault, which we've been keeping track of here in Tucson and has, excuse me, and has, with his news, climbed up the grand total of one thing. Now it's time for, what is this, international news? Now it's time for national and international news for, topics that affect everyone, not just me here sitting at this seat. Which I don't care about, by the way. I don't care about topics that don't involve me personally.
Right, yes. Yeah, that's
I know you feel the
drive.
same way. I got that from you, actually.
I care. I care about
Do you?
everything. Yeah,
No,
I do.
didn't
Yeah,
notice
I care.
that. I don't
Yeah.
believe her. I don't believe her.
I care. A federal judge ruled on Tuesday that Indiana cannot block the resettlement of Syrian refugees, a policy that was put in place by former governor and current Vice President Mike Pence. In November 2015, Pence was part of a group of 16 governors who announced plans to block Syrian refugees from settling in their states. The list included Arizona Governor Doug Ducey. The Indiana policy prevented state agencies from making payments to the nonprofit that helps resettle refugees. But U.S. District Judge Tanya Walton ruled that the state could no longer withhold the payments. The ruling comes from the lawsuit filed by the ACLU in February of 2016 that alleged that the state illegally targeted refugees based on their nationality. A federal appeals uphold a block on the policy, saying Pence's plan was discriminatory. Alyssa Farah, Pence's press secretary, did an impressive display of mental gymnastics in describing the court's ruling. She said when Pence was governor, he stopped the payments until the federal government could provide credible assurances that proper security measures are in place. She said now that Trump is president, proper security measures are being implemented, so it makes sense that Indiana would settle. I'm sure that's exactly what the judge was thinking. Farah also said that since Trump is president, the big, beautiful wall won't actually need to be built. But just talking about building a border means that Trump built the wall and fulfilled his campaign promises.
I agree with that 100%. I don't know why people are consistently getting on the president. He's doing what he said he was gonna do by saying that he did it. What else do you need? Moving on. The president, our awesome president with the best words, announced that he would impose steep tariffs on steel and aluminum imported into the U.S. on Thursday. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle criticized the decision, saying that it could risk a trade war among trade partners like China, Europe, and Canada, all enemies of the United States. Trump said the duty taxes would be 25% on steel imports and 10% on aluminum, and the policy would officially be announced next week. The president said that the tariffs will help protect American jobs, even though many economists say that it would cause price increase for industries that use steel and aluminum and could end up destroying jobs. But what do those economists know that the president wouldn't know? The president knows what he's talking about 100% of the time. These include the auto and oil industries, who are heavily dependent upon both aluminum and steel, who they've never been president either. Shares for companies ranging from automakers to airplane makers tanked on Thursday after the announcement, and the Dow fell over 400 points overall. In response, China has said that it will stop imports of U.S. soybeans, and the European Union said it may take retaliatory action as well. Even polite Canada said that it might have to take measures in response to the tariffs, though they apologized soon after for speaking out of place. That's just how they are, the Canadians. According to The Economist, the tariffs will likely hit Canada the hardest and won't affect China, which was Trump's reasoning for the policy. Canada supplies 16% of U.S. steel, while China only supplies 2%. An unnamed Trump official said they're not sure if Trump realizes that the country located above us is not actually China, and said they would give him a reminder this weekend over golf. I'm sure Trump knows that. When announcing the tariffs, Trump said that we are going to build our steel industry back and our aluminum industry back because we need those. Following the statement, Trump was told that building up the steel and aluminum industries would be too expensive because of the tariffs. Listen, I'm totally with President Trump when it comes to ignoring the fake news with all these facts and statistical numbers. That's not what we need. We need a president who's strong. That's what we have. Strong on Canada. We have to be strong on Canada.
Okay. I just have no words. That's unusual for me. West Virginia teachers continue to strike today as state lawmakers looked for a solution to the strike, which reached its 8th straight day. Teachers announced that they would strike after demanding a 5% raise. West Virginia teachers make about $45,000 per year and are some of the lowest paid in the country. Over the weekend, West Virginia legislature accidentally approved the raise, but soon rescinded the vote after realizing that the bill contained a 5% raise rather than the intended 4%. Democrats opposed the repeal of the vote, even though it ended up going through. A conference committee between the House and the Senate was scheduled for 4 p.m. today to figure out if the state can find enough money to pay for the raises. In the meantime, teachers, service personnel, and other citizens stormed to the Capitol to show support for the state's teachers. The sizes at the Capitol have grown so large that it became a capacity concern for the Capitol Police and the West Virginia Fire Marshal. Public Safety said that they will not be admitting any more visitors to the area. All 55 counties in West Virginia had school closures on Monday after about 20,000 teachers walked out on February 22nd, keeping nearly 277,000 students out of class. The Senate and the House have until Tuesday to come up with a solution for the issue, although the group can extend the deadline. If the meeting fails, then an earlier law outlining a 2% raise will kick in, then a 1% raise over 2 years. Or the legislature could accidentally vote to give teachers a 10% raise, then pretend they never took that vote. I don't know.
It sounds like a strategy to me.
Yeah, let's just vote and then take it back and then vote again. I don't know.
It's not like the process has ever been useful, so.
Yeah, right, yeah.
We're good. All right, some U.S. states are considering importing prescription drugs from Canada, our enemy, because of arguing drug prices in the U.S. Vermont lawmakers are considering legislation to create an agency that would purchase the drugs in bulk from Canada, then distribute them throughout the state. West Virginia, Oklahoma, and West Virginia have proposed similar legislation. Vermont State Senator Ginny Lyons said that the state was taking matters into their own hands because, quote, pharmaceutical companies are getting away with murder, end quote. The move comes as the cost of prescription drugs is estimated to grow faster than other healthcare spending in the U.S. in the U.S. over the next decade. Drugs in Canada tend to be much cheaper than in the U.S. due to government controls over pricing. One example is Gleevec, a leukemia drug, which costs over $10,000 in the U.S. and a little over $2,000 in Canada. If the plan goes well, lawmakers will look to bring other things back from Canada, such as, Patent, clean air, and Canadian lawmakers. I don't think we need Canadian lawmakers. We have the strongest and best lawmakers here in the United States. Don't you agree? Don't you agree that everyone in the United States lawmaking arena is the best ever to have ever been there if they support Trump?
I agree that you have a lot of opinions.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yes. The Norwegian Nobel Committee said that someone using a stolen identity nominated Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. The committee keeps candidate names secret for 50 years, and candidates can only be nominated by parliament members, university professors, and directors of peace research and international affairs institutes. In January, Hedrick Erdal, manager of the Peace Institute Oslo, told the Associated Press that Trump had been nominated, but that the nomination, quote, still lacks a strong academic justification. The committee says that the same person was responsible for forging nominations in 2017, but they refused to identify that individual. However, they did say that the nomination said that, quote, Trump is the greatest, most smartest person in modern history who has the best ideas, the best words, and the best face. Also, the nominee wrote that Hillary Clinton should be in jail. I wonder who that individual was that wrote all that.
It probably was somebody who has a firm grasp on reality and how things should work in this country and around the world. It's probably who did it. Lock her up.
This is 5 on 20 News with Tammy King.
And Jamain.
Be sure to like and share and subscribe to our YouTube account. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for all the latest creative news and content. You can also feel free to get in touch with us at info@creativetucson.org.
Thanks for watching.
Stay creative, Tucson.
We're supposed to do it together.
Oh, okay, let's do it again. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. All right.
Thanks for watching.
Stay creative, Tucson.
My friends told